Okay, so yeah, thanks for all joining us this afternoon. I know it's a very busy and hectic day so far today. I'm David Edwards, Client Relationship Manager at DigiTickets in the UK. My colleague Josh sadly has had some family emergency, so he's not with us today. Stephanie is Head of Marketing at TrekkSoft. Do you want to go into a bit more about the group?
Yeah, of course. So obviously it's a bit strange having two booking solutions here together, but we're actually part of the same group, the same family. So we've got TrekkSoft, we've got DigiTickets, we have Myobis, that is a German-based tour operator. We have Valtar software, which is Austrian-based for ski and snow sales. Payo, which is our payment gateway, which is specifically for the tours and activities industry. And then Experience Bank, which is our channel manager. Okay, so at TrekkSoft, our motto is to make the world's activities bookable. We do that by giving operators the tools to sell their business, so to sell their bookings online, to manage their business with automation tools, and to give them the power and the integrations and connections to grow their business.
Okay, and yes, so DigiTickets have been around for just over a decade, based down in the southwest of England, and we have a large and growing client base, primarily looking after ticketing, so the online customer journey, very much either from your own websites, through social media channels, newsletters, however your current journey is, we'll replicate that and extend it. So the vast majority of the time that means designing a ticket site that enables you to sell memberships, gift vouchers, admissions, various entrance tickets throughout the year. We also have a combined and integrated EPOS solution as part of our back office, all controlled in one localised environment. So very much you create your inventory, and within that you're able to differentiate between different sales channels of how to reach your end customers.
Okay, so when we talk about how to achieve growth on top of growth, we're going to talk about some revenue management techniques. It sounds like a pretty big term, but a lot of these things you may have already been doing already, or you'll definitely be familiar with. So revenue management was initially in airlines. Everyone knows of dynamic pricing because obviously the more seats an airline sells, the more expensive seats become. It was then adopted by hotels who use it probably the most regularly and use a whole range of tools, and today we're going to talk about a few of those tools that they use. So the definition of revenue management is about selling the right product to the right person for the right price, the right time, through the right channels with the best commission efficiency. That is a tongue twister to say. So the first part that we're going to talk through is how to sell the right products to the right person. So you, as obviously growing tour operators, you already have a wealth of data that no one else has. So you already know the type of people who are booking your tours, you already know where they're booking from, how they're booking, what they're looking for, and that's a huge part of this stage of this journey. So using that data to understand your audience, so who is booking your tours? What are the segments of those who are booking your tours? So we've got families, couples, groups, solo travellers, basically understanding exactly who your customers are and how many different segments you have. And then looking at your product mix and making sure that the types of tours you're offering really work to those segments and reviewing that over time. So making sure you have the right types of tours for families, for couples, looking at the times of days that they would book those tours, what sort of things they're looking for, the ticket types, and then obviously we've got memberships as well. So I'll pass over to David who can tell us a little bit more about memberships.
Yeah, so obviously primary goal to one, sell tickets, and one, to keep engaging with those customers and have them repeat and come back to visit you, is to have some kind of loyalty scheme or some membership system in place. Generally speaking, how you go about that would be marketing through CRM systems, various software such as MailChimp, things like that, keeping that engagement with clients ongoing. How do you then differentiate between who's been to certain types of attractions, certain types of events throughout the calendar year? Is it a different client base? Is it different? Is it, as you said, different families, different types of travellers from different countries? The way to do that is by a membership or loyalty scheme. Do you have certain discount codes that you use throughout the year? Have you thought about being able to use social media to your advantage and actually gain interest from that? track visit history, enable the customer to pick and choose events that are more aligned to their requirements rather than giving them a whole menu to choose from. So it really gives you that opportunity to dive in and actually gain a bit more granular detail about your customers, and be able to offer them the chance to manage their subscription and their interaction with you.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've also got understanding priorities, and that's a big part of the content when you're selling these tours, and whether through your website or through online travel agencies or partners, making sure that you're using content that expresses what they're really interested in. So are they looking for a once in a lifetime experience, and is that what you should be writing about? Are they very keen about safety, so should you be talking about certificates? Or are they looking for family friendly, and is that the sort of route you should go down with your content for selling those tours as well? And only you will know this thing, because this information, because it's from your own data.
So how do you then sell at the right price at the right time? Have you considered how to target pricing to specific customer groups, from child events through this type of season, Halloween, Santa's grottos, things like that? How do you track the family market, increase advanced bookings? It might be from early bird offers, coupon codes throughout the year. We see a large trend, particularly from summer months through to January, family uptake planning through Christmas season into New Year and into the following half term and Easter, a real core time for people to actually promote quieter times throughout those periods and offer codes to incentivise customers to attend and really interact with you as a business. Things like selling gift vouchers are becoming more and more key. Historically, a lot of attractions would use physical cards or very basic in-house loyalty scheme as part of their offering. More and more people are going online to do that, so offering the flexibility to give the customer a choice, whether it's through an email communication, cited back to the ticketing platform of your choice, being able to actually manage that and refer to the actual pricing that you set for different times and different tours throughout the year.
Perfect. And then I guess the biggest part is selling on the right channels. We're going to touch on the next few slides a lot more in direct bookings, because that is where your priority should be, is on having as much direct business as possible. And through that, obviously the biggest one that you would have heard today is having live availability, so that people can access your tours immediately, but also saves you a lot of work for manual admin time as well. And we're going to touch on not having a mobile friendly website and social media channels in the next slides. But the other things are obviously your partners, so selling locally in destinations, so selling with other hotels, your destination management organisations, tourism bodies, restaurants, other tour operators as well. That's quite a common thing for our customers, that if they have a complementing tour with another tour operator, why not partner up and sell on behalf of each other as well? So it's a huge part. And then the other thing is online travel agencies. I attended a seminar, the last workshop, that spoke about that online travel agencies should be an additional tool, so they shouldn't be your reliant for your main use of business, but those online travel agencies should reach the audiences you cannot reach yourself. They're an advertisement tool to extend your network and basically grow even further beyond what you can do direct.
Okay, so touching on the direct booking journey. So working for a ticketing provider, you see very often people will have either an historic website that they've inherited, or perhaps will be a starting base or platform for customers to go to in terms of information, how to find you, basic contact us page, things like that, without a flushed out booking system or journey for the customer to follow. The real key points in this to actually grow those direct sales is how to make sure your website can be found, so things like analytics, Google ratings, making sure your website is prominent, having prominent book buy buttons across your website, so really enforcing the message to customers that you want them to attend, when those dates are available, pushing promotions, again offers and discounts, things to make it really enticing for them to follow up rather than hitting the landing page and falling away. We do a lot of work with analytics as a business, so very often we'll pinpoint customers that will hit a landing page, perhaps go to the first page of booking, perhaps the calendar doesn't work, or they'll be asked to enter information or a password to check out, and then be told, actually, lo and behold, the password doesn't match the criteria, things like that, and people drop off the page. So making it as very easy as possible to have that account sign up and that interaction with you is key. And again, offer relevant upsells and cross-sells, as Stephanie said. So particularly if you're working with other businesses, or if you have a quieter season, really pushing those times and events as much as you can. As many people today have said, and I think in the opening statements earlier, so we find something like 70 to 80% of clients now book through a mobile. So it's really quite key to not only have a booking platform that does exactly what you need it to in terms of the information, what you're selling as a business, but also to have it mobile friendly and optimized. Many providers will do this as standard, really being able to say, actually, you know, the availability is there in the palm of your hand to book any time. Having it available at any time, people often book late at night, for example. The core times are something like 6 till 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday nights, particularly during half terms and holidays. So really making sure that it's up to date and easily being able to navigate it as well.
David, how late should you have your availability bookable? So what would you suggest is acceptable from a customer's perspective? Should they be able to book 5 to 10 minutes before they arrive at your tour or at your attraction?
We generally say, if not 24 hours, maybe 12 hours before, just purely to have that understanding and that client attendee list, really, of who's actually arriving on site. Many systems, ourselves included, will offer the option for customers to amend their booking. So rather than people phoning up your call centre and trying to change a time, we'll say, actually, you can, as part of your account sign up, go through online, feel free to amend your booking, but there is a cut-off period for that, just so you can manage numbers and expectations across the business and staffing that you need to do as part of it.
Yeah, and for TrekkSoft, it depends on the customer. So it depends on how that would impact their tour. So we have some walking tours where that there isn't additional resource there, so they're quite happy to have bookings the minute before the tour starts. But there are others where they need a lot more planning, they need additional resources, maybe they need safety guides if it goes on over a certain number, so they do need that additional timing. Okay, and then obviously it's very important to use social media to boost your sales. So yeah, for DigiTickets, you have a great stat on this, that the sales driven by social media are continuously growing.
Yeah, so again, we work with a lot of analytics, a lot of social media referrals. A lot of our clients, particularly this time of year, again, Santa's Grottos, Halloween events, and for New Year, we'll advertise heavily on Facebook, on Twitter, really targeting those family buyers. And it's quite incredible, actually, the amount of bookings that come through in volume, as I say, even at weekends or through a night time. So it's really key to make sure that you can track those sales, be able to encourage customers to share that experience as part of the checkout. So if they've had a good customer journey, they've been able to book the perfect time, the perfect date to fit them, they can shout about it, and shout about you as a business, and really be able to reshare that with your network to grow more sales on top of that.
Yeah, this is actually an example for one of our larger customers in Interlaken, where they have a target group primarily of millennials who are using social media, and they're very much driven by the imagery that they see, and it's once in a lifetime adventures, and they're looking online for inspiration for what to do, and that brings a lot of engagement to their website. Okay. And then a really important part of your customer journey is using custom fields. So both of our solutions offer this, that's how important it is. But yeah, you can build a customer profile for all the information that you need. So you can personalize this completely. You can have things like, shoe size, age, nationality. One of our customers, they have operations around the world. So they ask, where are you going to go to next after this trip? So that they can start planning to send the next communication and start upselling, cross-selling very, very well. We've also got that you can personalise all pre and post-trip emails and basically invite them to visit again, to recommend to other people, adding promotions there. A lot of this information saves your staff time, manual admin work, because you're getting this information in advance, and you're assisting with that full customer experience. So again, we were talking about this beforehand, but things like having that information before, then you can plan. So if you know that they're coming for a birthday, then when they arrive, you can make that very special for them by saying, happy birthday, or having some balloons or anything like that that adds to that customer experience is so important. And it's very easy to get that information right at the booking stage.
And even following on from that, for another customer example, so Christmas time, perfect time of year, kids go and see Santa, they go to farm parks over Christmas, things like that. Even capturing basic information of the child's name, what they would like for Christmas, dietary requirements, that type of thing. The actual impact it has for not just the child itself, but for the family when they're visiting Santa, and seeing that know-how that Santa knows their name, what they like for Christmas, what they enjoy doing, what they not enjoy doing, is really quite powerful. If the child is happy, the parents are happy, and more likely it is that you're going to get that return business. On top of that, we try and capture a lot of things as part of the online checkout. So things like safety information, rather than you've got the booking platform there and it's great and it works wonderfully well, but having still somebody having to fill in a safety waiver perhaps on site, and there's still another queue forming, having that captured online as part of the checkout is easily doable, and again saves you that in-house staffing time and resource.
Sorry. On that front, where is the line for where custom fields are just trying to retain too much data and it's turning conversion away? Do you have any information on where that sort of sits?
Yep, so we try to tell clients no more than 4 or 5 custom fields ideally. Generally around, again, it's really through that click-through rate. As you say, the last thing you want, having entice the customer and giving them branding details of the event, is then to say, actually, we're going to bombard you with the questions, and they'll just think, I've had enough of this, we're going to go. So we try and limit that as much as possible. But that said, really try and make that information key that is going to be relevant to you, whether that's for the event or ticket itself, or to be able to remarket it with their permission in future.
Okay.
So similar to memberships and having a loyalty program, so we touched on that repeat business. So how would you go about that? Building that long-term personal customer relationship and making sure that they return to you time and again. Do you use referrals? Have you thought about creating member-only events or member-only pricing, pre-sale releases, things like that? Very often we'll see listings made online through various partners or various online travel agents where it's one price fits all or one event type fits all. Having a tailored solution for certain family groups at different times of year, for half term, things like that, is really quite beneficial for you. It will certainly drive traffic towards your site, hopefully in the mode of retaining it for the next time.
Yeah, it's an example from one of our operators, Sandeman's, who created this loyalty scheme. And they printed the cards just on paper because they didn't really think that it was going to take off, and it worked extremely well. So now they have plastic cards because people have seen it as a goal to go around all of their tours and to travel the world and to do it. They just thought outside of the box as to how they can make it more fun for the customer to come back or refer other people, and it's just a very clever way to do it.
Okay, so having the right tools to set up your business. So we've touched on the online journey, how you can add certain things like custom fields and memberships and things like that to your checkout. What do you do in addition to that as part of that work to reach your customers? So booking software, as we touched on, is the first step, of course. How you get your inventory out there, get it online, get it visible for customers to purchase. Following on from that, have you considered a channel manager? So the hot topic here today is different online travel agents. Working with the likes of Booking.com, Expedia, Get Your Guide and the like. Have you thought about allocating your listings through those channels as well, whether in real time or through a different solution? Many times we're asked consistently by clients and new prospects and everything as well, which gateway do you use? How does the customer make payment? So having a key partner that you either trust or are recommended as trusted to you is key. The last thing you want is having someone go through that whole checkout and then the payment fails, or direct debits returned, or whatever it might be. So having a payment that works for you 24/7 as well, and you're able to go in and manage that if need be, is very important. And finally, things like integration. So as I say, we touch on analytics in how the sites work and how much volume goes through ticket sales, but also being able to drill down into which device they use, whether it's mobile, laptop, where they're from in terms of locality, generation, which age group they are, things like that. It's all very powerful, and you can segment that into different target audiences that you want to reach thereon and thereafter. And of course, communications, so capturing that customer data to be able to remarket. Do you ordinarily touch base with customers after they've attended? Do you send mail shots? How did you find our visit surveys, things like that? So really keeping that customer engagement going. And integrations will do that for you in many cases.
And then, yeah, the main thing is to then repeat that whole situation again. So once you have bookings, then you have fresh data. Once you have fresh data, you should then look again at if you have the right products, you have the right pricing, and then again, that's the right channels. So this is a continuous circle. So some of the key takeaways that we have from this is that using revenue management techniques can really set you up and plan for growth of your business. You should use your own data to really get a valuable understanding of who your customers are, and then price your tours accordingly based on that data. Using OTAs as an advertisement tool for lookers that you just can't reach yourself, but investing in other channels, so investing time into other booking channels that could reach your segment better than an OTA could. Make sure that your website is obviously the priority for direct bookings, it's fast loading, it's simple to use, and that you're rewarding loyalty with customer incentives as well. And then a main thing I think is important for Scotland is working together as a destination. You have a lot more, I guess, buying power as well when you work together in your local areas, more so than you'd have individually. So working together to sell each other's tours, working together to negotiate commissions, working together to build partnerships, that's all a huge important part of this.
And so following on from that for predictions for next year, so how we've kind of seen the market through 2018 and 2019 and moving forward as well. So it's really a lot of investment is made, as the Visit Scotland guys touched on at the start, to connect travellers from around the world and how you promote both the local market, domestic market, and your events and your attractions within that. Being able to have stronger connections in those destinations, as Stephanie touched on, and tighter integrations between software is really key. So it might be you have an online platform already, or you have a channel manager you've perhaps spoken to, or a listing elsewhere on Google, things like that. Being able to tie those together in the best way that you can, that's not misleading to customers, but will generate you the most revenue and the most clicks and follow through as well. On top of that, dynamic pricing and cross-selling. So dynamic pricing, having it flexible, whether it's set automated for different times of year, different times of day, and be able to respond to things like overbooking limits, things like that, making sure that actually if you've got a set limit of people to attend, that's not breached. Things like making sure cross sales are in place with hotels. If you go on booking.com, are you recommended as a local attraction or a local event for them to buy as part of that transaction? Have you thought about doing that? And making sure that you've got intelligent software, as we've touched on, that incorporates those requirements and those needs. Anybody got any questions or any comments? So that's based off, we analyse both individual clients' analytics and their sales put throughout the year, but that's the combined information from both 2018 and 2019. So we work with TrekkSoft as well, looking at predictions for the year based on that model. And it's really about trying to understand what's been popular with clients, how many clients have taken those procedures on, predicting what's going to happen next year. I think there's two sides to dynamic pricing possibly. So one is very much, as you say, whether it's specific to a certain customer or client, whether that's visible for the general public or not, or it's specific for them if they log into a portal or through a travel agent, wherever it might be. So then the second side of that is having perhaps a standard adult, child, family ticket price that then is adaptable and dynamic throughout the year. And that's really about just making sure that it's adjusted perhaps for seasonal peaks, things like that, You know, if you run discounts for Christmas time or for summer holidays, making sure that's visible, and of course it needs to be visible and obvious to customers that that's the case, but being able to automate that rather than you having to go in and physically change anything manually, really, making it more dynamic for them.
Yeah, I think an example of that, I went to San Francisco recently, and Alcatraz prison, they offer tours throughout the day, but they offer a slightly cheaper tour early morning, because that's their quieter period. They package it up, they sell it as, you know, beat the crowds, come first thing, it's lovely. But they're using dynamic pricing to really promote their quieter periods, because they know that those busy periods are going to fill up anyway. So they prioritise those times.
Very often as well, we'll see standard pricing perhaps Monday to Friday, and then weekend discounts or Saturday night discounts for attractions, a set time frame and sale limits on them, so certain numbers can only attend, but then it becomes more popular and word of mouth spreads, and lo and behold, throughout the week the bookings go up as well as a result generally.
There's a thing on as you dive deeper into revenue management, dynamic pricing. We're not reinventing the wheel here. The airlines have gone through it and the hotels have gone through it. We have to be very careful as an industry. We don't just take the model they've got, because what it does is it makes it all about price. And you don't want your experiences and your tours and your attractions to just be about price. But if we just follow the model that's been proven, it will become about price. So you have to start looking at how do you add value into the product at certain times. So instead of discounting the morning trip, what added value do you put in the morning trip to divert the customer from the midday trip to the morning one by adding value, because it takes the focus away from price. Remember, everything else is about spending your time efficiently. You get a flight or a hotel, you're spending your time efficiently. People don't buy tours to spend their time efficiently. They buy tours to have a great experience. Therefore, add value. Price is important. I'm not saying price isn't important. It's very important. But don't just focus on price, because we're not in the price game yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We'll have an issue.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's very easy to get kind of beset with the pricing path. But yeah, things like memberships that we touched on, loyalty schemes, things like that, being able to entice the customer back and sell it in a certain way that has that repeat business and it spreads from there. So by all means, pricing is very important, of course, but it is about, you know, selling your whole package and getting it visible and attracting that loyalty.
Folks, that's us.
Perfect.
Join me in a round of applause for.
Thank you.